So without further ado, let's get this party started. So again, keep in mind that this story has gone on under the radar. It was independent media who discovered this video. I mean, discovered this story, and this happened months ago, not last week or not even the week before. This happened months ago. So this is why I keep constantly telling people, please support independent media because these stories keep going up under the radar and nobody knows what's going on. So, as one of those independent medias, let me go ahead and report about a man who died right after prison. I mean, not right after jail. Sorry, after being jailed, he bailed out, but he died because during that whole time he was in jail, he kept saying constantly, "I need my heart medication," because he had a heart transplant. The medication was to prevent his body from rejecting the new heart. He said it he said it before he was arrested. He said it while he was arrested. He said it while he was in jail. He said it during the arraignment at the jail at the courthouse. He said it several times, and they still did not give it give him his medicine. 2 days after he got out of jail, he died. So let's go ahead and get a little more background into this story.
Yeah, Jeannie, and I called the Berry family's lawyer and asked him who they're going to be suing here, and he said, in a word, everyone. You know, the Berry children, they're still grieving quite a bit. They told me it's hard for them to watch the body cam video back, and they're just hoping that if anything can come from this, it'll hopefully bring some attention to inmate health care, coming from their dad's death.
I take rejection medicine for my heart transplant.
Okay.
I can't miss no doses.
Dexter Berry's children say their father was diligent about taking his heart medications. His new heart wasn't something he took for granted. He was diagnosed with congestive heart failure in 2008 and waited 12 years to get a new heart.
When I say like hurdles, he went through a lot just to get where he was.
Police arrived at Berry's apartment on a Friday in November after his neighbor called. Berry and his neighbor had been arguing about a Wi-Fi plan they shared. Berry threatened to beat him up if he didn't stop using it.
It's just going to be to separate y'all for a cool-off period.
Berry was arrested on a simple assault charge for threatening violence.
You taking me to jail and me missing my medicine, risking me.
So, listen, man.
Listen
to me real quick.
Body camera video shows Berry told the arresting officer several times he needed his heart medication. Court documents show Berry also told the judge during his court appearance he needed the meds. Berry's son Dexter Jr. says his father didn't have anyone's number memorized, so he didn't even know about his father's arrest until after he bonded out 2 days later.
When I spoke to him Monday, he told me to run down, and I can hear it in his voice that he wasn't sounding like himself.
3 days later, Berry died from cardiac arrest.
I just told you I gotta take my medicine.
Berry's children have contacted a lawyer, hoping something can be done to stop other families from going through the same thing.
And that was all my father lived for. Hey, I gotta take my pills so I can see my grandkids, so I can see my kids, like I don't want to die. I want to see my family. And he sucked it up and took 20-something plus pills a day.
I did reach out to the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office about this. They responded quickly to me, but they did tell me that they weren't able to comment on Berry's case because of the possible lawsuit.
So let me put another more fuel to the fire. Took this man 12 years. The only reason he even moved to Jacksonville was to be closer to the Mayo Clinic so he could take care of himself. 12 years it took for him to get his new heart. I don't know how many of y'all know about this or not. It ain't easy getting a heart transplant, kidney, lung, anything.
You know what it's like to sit there and hope somebody dies? And that's just you?
And this man waited 12 years to get it, to be completely wiped out within days. All because of, I don't care where you want to put this in, racism, bigotry, pure neglect, inhumanity. I don't care what category you want to put this situation in. It should not have happened. This man should not even been arrested. I know, communicating a threat. I get that. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Who
But
gets
I'm
arrested for
gonna
that
beat
anymore?
you up.
Who gets,
Like, I'm not sure.
That was communicating a threat. Who gets arrested for that these days? Seriously, I'm being dead serious.
Apparently,
Nobody gets arrested for that. For just saying it.
Marlon, that's where you need to stop right there.
we
Because
just
you ran down the litany that everybody would love to pretend, right? I don't care if it's racism, bigotry, neglect, indifference, blah 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 blah.
know all of them.
You already know, if not for one particular piece, all of this would have been avoided. So where I would start is where you were just at. Who else besides a black or a brown man, to my knowledge, would have been arrested for threatening to beat up the person who's stealing his internet?
Thank you. For real.
Okay? So right there, hard stop. Hard stop. Now, because that's where you have to start looking at all your factors, right? Because if he wasn't arrested, none of this would have occurred. Then you put him in there, and he's obviously, if he told the officer, he told the people at the booking, he told the people at the jail, right? So that means for days, this man is without medication despite protestations. Had he not been a black man, they would have at least listened to him. If that had been a white woman, if that had just been a woman, well, I don't know. If that had been a white woman,
yeah, I was like, no,
they never would have been arrested, right? So I get it that everybody, and I'm not saying this about you, but everyone wants to look past race, and I am the first to say that everything is not racism. Some things are just racial, right? This, I would say, is racism because it was the indifference and the cruelty and the hard-heartedness to not even hear what this person is saying to you about his medical condition when he is not a violent threat. He is not a violent offender. Right now, you're only dealing with a verbal situation, and yet you let it roll this way. Now, what happens from there, I think, then all those other ones can come in, right? Let's say he is white and they did this. Then what happened to him from the moment he was put in that police car to when he ultimately died, this criminal justice system would do it to any and everyone because it doesn't see people as people once you enter that system.
Right. It is something that should never had occurred. And I'm going back, I'm going with what they said. It shouldn't have got to this point. It never should have gotten to this point. The man got cussed out because you stealing his Wi-Fi. I don't blame you. I don't want you stealing my Wi-Fi either. It's my damn Wi-Fi. I'm paying for it. We had a verbal agreement. Somewhere along the line, you broke that agreement. I'm cussing you out because you want to keep using free Wi-Fi. I'm cussing you out. You use my Wi-Fi again, I'm going to beat your butt.
Now, the proper response is change your password.
Well, yeah.
But obviously we were past that point. Or you might not know your password because your grandchildren or somebody else might have set it up for you or something.
Yeah. but let's see what everybody.
We got to stop jumping to violence or threats of violence too soon. We just got to stop that, especially in current environment. You don't need to be displaying a threat with nobody. You just need to have already made your decision that if somebody puts a threat towards you, what you gonna do? Like, what is your reaction to violence? You make that decision. But don't go threatening nobody because people are wild out here right now. They will kill you over a parking spot, your shoe untied.
I have to start reading this out because I've been getting a whole bunch of emails lately, and it's nothing bad. It's nothing bad, but people have been saying, "I listen to your show, but I'm not looking. I'm just listening to it." So it messes me up when there's comments and all I hear us saying is, yeah, okay, and they're like, what are you saying? So forgive me, I'm sorry, but I'll try to read everybody's comments so for the people who's listening, they can understand where we're going. Mama Heart, I just do not understand the inhumanity. I don't. I every time and that's one of those things where um every time I get, what's the word, Theus, when you get just used to it or whatever,
Oh, desensitized.
desensitized to it, humanity will up it up to the point where you just have to get right back into it again. It's real hard to
Yeah.
get desensitized to stuff when it's just like, oh, you're used to this, let me find a worse way.
I think a way that we can look at things like this, and it's going to be a matter of individual perspective and discipline, but I'm not desensitized to it. I process it a different way. You know, I know what I can and I can't handle, right? So I don't ever watch black snuff films
Yeah,
where the police are killing my brothers and sisters in the
yeah,
street. But I know what the culture of this country is. I know the history of this country. I know the current events in this country. I know the moral decay of this country. I am personally on a war footing. So I feel that I am personally at war with certain elements of society. So I view things really kind of like when this gentleman was, for lack of a better way of putting it, this is another soldier that was killed in the line of duty. He didn't mean to be part of this struggle. He was just living his life. This man had gotten to be old. He had managed to get a transplant. This man was a retired veteran. Okay, he's a black man that had made it almost to the end, and then you brought the end closer because of the indifference of the system. But that's a soldier gone. And when you lose a soldier and you're in a battle, you can't stop the fight to mourn that guy, right? You mourn your brother, but you continue fighting. You ain't got no time to stop. Your enemy is trying to stack more of your side's bodies. So you need to be more focused on the fight than what you just lost. And that's where I am right now. I'm so sick of seeing young soldiers, old soldiers, middle soldiers taken, and they're not even trying to hurt you. They're just trying to live their life, you know? But that's it's disgusting. And I'm gonna say this because I know this is our serious moment. Like I told somebody, I don't remember, I think it was my other brother. I was like, look, man, white America as a whole, America, because all the levers of power are in the hands of white America, has ungodly amount of power. This is a country, the United States of America, topples governments, topples countries. Everybody around the world is scared of them. They dictate the financial systems of the entire globe. Anything America wants to change, stop, fix, or make new, it can do it. So the fact that we are still wrestling with the color divide at this stage is because that is what America has chosen to be its status quo, and it's okay with it.
Oh my freaking god! This disrupt this disturb this disturb was over a Wi-Fi.
Dispute.
Dispute.
Thank you. I'm so out of it. Oh my freaking god! This dispute was over a Wi-Fi connection. I haven't heard that part. Although even if it was a more serious dispute, people should still get their medicine and their life when their life depends on it. Yeah, yeah. I don't want to go. Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. Because everything that I've said, I've already said. Anything that I say from this point will be repeating. Yes, the man was in there for what, 4 days? Really?
Yeah, I'll do you one better. Remember, we had a talk a while back. I don't remember what the situation was, but it was someone going to prison, and we were like, "Yeah, the prison will get them. They'll get them." And I said, "Hey, these are still human beings, and we don't outsource our brutality to somebody just because they're in prison." Remember that?
Yeah.
And I was saying, just because someone is in jail, just because someone's in prison, I don't care if they're a mass murderer. You arrested them, which means you put them in the system, which means you are now responsible
Responsible.
for their general welfare. That means you could have somebody like who went, I'm going to use that old nasty, I wish he was already under the dirt, Dylan Roof. That dude. I wish nothing but bad things for him. But the fact is, he went to prison, they locked him up. So that means if he's on medication, you should make sure he gets his medication.
Yes.
His
Yes.
punishment was time. His
Mhm.
punishment is isolation. His punishment is not a slow death from medication withdrawal. You know, why are we so brutal here? Why do we have such a bloodlust? Why do we look at someone who didn't walk the line to stay in quote unquote society and then pretend like they're no longer human and we don't care? It's just disgusting.
Hello,
Hey,
Marlon,
Mickey.
Tracy, Theas, and Nana. Hello, Mickey. Um, yeah, good point, Theas. The original red shows how that works exactly. Yeah, I I apologize. I hate to be the one who tried to do the what's the word, other side or whatever. There's two sides to the story when it really just isn't.
Mhm.
No,
Just
your points
He
were
didn't
valid,
do
bro.
that.
I was
It.
saying after the arrest, everything you said
Mhm.
100% valid. I
It
was
no,
just
all
making that small
happened,
yeah.
distinction.
I just
but
I just don't want. I just I've been in this game, this war for so long. I can just see these things coming up. I just always want to hit it off. So I can sit there. We can all sit there and say this is racism at its finest. This is the reason he was arrested because he was a black man arguing with a white man. Period. But I can see the other people. Yeah, Mickey. Yeah, yeah. I was playing devil's advocate. So
Yeah.
he shouldn't. He
No,
was
but
arrested because he was threatening. He shouldn't have
well,
did this. He shouldn't have said that. That doesn't mean it was racism. That just means that it was bigotry.
but it
That doesn't
doesn't.
mean it was
That's
bigotry.
the
That just
point.
means it was police oversight or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's
I think that's why the fight gets so muddled
yeah.
because everyone
Well,
really
that's the
just want
point
to
of them
fight
doing
from
it.
their.
That's the point of them doing it. They
But I
want
mean,
to muddle it.
even our side, bro. Even
Oh
our
yeah.
side, we like to fight from a grievance position. My thing is this: the gentleman was arrested. I don't think that was racist. Okay, that was racial, meaning that
mm,
for somebody else, you might have just, hey, you need to calm this down. If I have to come back out here, somebody's going downtown. We're not going to play this game.
mm,
You consider yourself warned, right? That's what they do a lot of times in domestic violence disputes and civil disputes. They go out and they say, hey, can you guys settle down and separate yourselves? If you cannot, somebody has to come with me,
mm,
right? That's how they normally come at it on a more general basis. What makes this racial is they were like, we're just gonna go ahead and take him, right? Like, but what was it about this older man that means you had to take him? That's where I think race factors in, but I still
That was
wouldn't
the
say
race that
racist.
factored in.
Once it became racist to me once that bias mixed with the power.
mm,
And that was when that judge, it's in the record where he said it, and the judge ignored it. The judge could have said, you make sure he gets his medication, right? He went to the jail. Who's ever over the jail, if it's a jail, it's probably the sheriff. So the sheriff should have been notified. The medical staff should have been notified. Everybody just looked at him as just another inmate. And he wasn't even guilty of anything yet. He
right.
was being held. So
And
he's not even a convict at this point. You know,
And this man is saying this in the car. This man is saying this at the arraignment. You know damn well he said it basically every day of every minute of every day while he's in jail. Hey, when am I gonna get my medicine? When he wakes up, hey, when am I gonna get my medicine? When they go to lunch, breakfast, hey, when am I gonna get my medicine? When we go to lunch, hey, when am I gonna get my medicine? When we go to dinner, hey, when I'm gonna get my medicine? When they go after exercise, hey, when am I gonna get my medicine? Right before it's time to go to bed. Hey, when am I gonna get my medicine? So
you know what this makes me think of? Remember during COVID, there was a black woman. She was a doctor, a medical doctor, and she was insisting on a certain level of care. She was saying, "This hurts. This is my concern. I can't breathe." She was doing all the things. She was advocating for herself. But because they thought that she was being too aggressive and they didn't like her attitude, they didn't take her seriously. And then she ends up dying, begging for her own life. Then we look at that's a medical situation. This was just a normal civil situation. Then we look at George Floyd. He's telling you, "I can't breathe. I can't breathe." But you don't believe that when we say that we're in pain, that we're actually in pain. You swear that we can take more pain than we can, and we're just making things up to get better treatment. You only do that, America, to us, and you've been doing it since slavery. It's baked in. It's baked into our education, our medical, our police situations, our prison situations. The tapes run long that somehow we are some kind of superhuman creatures that we don't hurt the same. And that's the part I think filters back into this brother. That's what it made me think of just then.
and I'm so glad, and I'm going ahead and end it right here. I'm so glad the videotape got out. Sorry,
Yes.
but not sorry, because I guarantee you that would
They
have
would
been
have
your
made it up.
first.
We
That
didn't
would
do
have been
anything.
your first freaking defense. He never
He
said anything.
he didn't say a word.
He ain't never said anything about medicine. I have no idea. Where's the body cam? Well, we have to go through the body cam for the next 2 years so we can take a look. Yeah, you know how y'all do it. What's
Hey
up, D?
D.
What's up, D? Incarceration is a multi-billion-dollar
Business.
business where I tax funds the brutal, unnecessary acts. We pay for the brutality like we buy burgers. Yes, yes, indeed. All right, we're on a good start. Next.